Primary night in Delaware. The broadcast begins in 10 seconds. WDBC Internet Television is on. I am an avatar for Michael P. Borgia. The broadcast, originating from deep behind enemy lines, is brought to you by dailyborg.com. Conservative politics for the thoughtful. Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. Primary night in Delaware is now in the history books, and while the earth did not shake like it did 2 years ago, it did bring some surprises. We'll look at key results when the broadcast begins in a moment.
I didn't see you come in.
Yeah, most people don't.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm depression, and I've come for you.
I'm not depressed.
Oh, you're not? What about schizophrenia?
No.
Anxiety disorders?
Uh-uh.
Eating or mood disorders?
No and no.
Oh, my mistake. It's next Tuesday that you lose your job and your boyfriend leaves you.
Patty, let me be honest with you. Won't filing for Social Security benefits online be confusing?
George, it's simple and easy, and you can do it in your pajamas from the comfort of your own home.
Oh, my.
You've navigated through asteroid belts, right?
Oh, sure, plenty of times.
Well, compared to that, navigating socialsecurity.gov is a snap.
Really?
It's so easy. Even Kirk could do it.
Primary night brought 3 huge surprises last night. Each party has cast out a long-serving incumbent from the state Senate. A corruption-addled office holder defies the odds to win renomination. And the final choices for the November ballot are now set. Kristen Jones is here with me to analyze the results.
Michael, thank you. Let's start with the night's biggest upset. In State Senate District 11, Senate President Pro Tem Anthony DeLuca has seen his career ended by a 30-year-old lawyer, Brian Townsend. DeLuca has been one of the most despised men in the Senate for years among his colleagues, but has kept his corruption-addled tenure hidden from his constituents. But in the social media era, many details of DeLuca's heavy-handed management of the Senate became public. Democratic voters did away with him last night, nominating Townsend by a 58-42 margin. And there was also a huge upset in Sussex last night.
Longtime legislator Joe Booth was defeated in his primary last night as well. In a rematch of his razor-close contest with Eric Bodenweiser, this year's contest went the challenger's way by a 53-47 margin. Bodenweiser will now advance to the general election in November in a district with moderate leanings. The voters of the 19th district will now have to choose between a very liberal Democrat and a very conservative Republican, neither one of whom fits the politics of this district.
Michael, our third surprise of the night was on the statewide ballot. Insurance Commissioner Karen Weldon Stewart was considered among the walking dead just a few months ago when the Democratic State Convention endorsed her former assistant Mitch Crane over the incumbent. Weldon Stewart, though, did not give up and has been aggressively campaigning for months, spending tens of thousands on advertising, mostly on bus billboards. Weldon Stewart narrowly won a 4-way primary last night with 33% of the vote and won the right to advance to November against Republican nominee Benjamin Mobley.
In other races of note last night, a 5-way primary for mayor of Wilmington ends with State Representative Dennis Williams taking 38% of the vote and the top spot. Williams is now all but assured of being elected mayor in November. On the statewide ballot, Senator Tom Carper survived his first primary challenge in more than 2 decades by easily defeating Keith Spinarelli by an 85-15 margin in a race that was never in doubt. The only other contested statewide race was on the Republican side, where the specter of Christine O'Donnell's insurgent win 4 years ago created some angst for Mike Castle-supported Tom Kovac. Kovac defeated perennial candidate Rose Izzo last night 66-34. The fact, though, that Izzo, who has run 4 times as a Republican in her life and twice as a Democrat, pulled a third of the primary vote still shows divisions are still present in the Republican Party.
In Kent County, a state house race that drew some interest was in the 32nd District, where former Judge Ellis Parrott was challenged for the Republican nomination by William McVeigh. McVeigh, A 26-year-old libertarian ran as the outside candidate. But his own flighty voting and registration record was his undoing. In the past several years, McVeigh has changed his registration from Republican to Libertarian and back 5 separate times. He's also been registered as a Jedi Knight and a Sith Lord. Parent handily 174-26.
Back in Newcastle, Democrats had a 4-way primary for county executive. Incumbent Paul Clark, saddled by the legacy of Chris Coons' horrific mismanagement of county government, paid the price Coons should have. Former executive Tom Gordon staged a comeback and won the Democratic nomination last night by a 46-33 margin over Clark, who will now go out of office at the end of the year. Democrats also staged a primary for county council president. Christopher Bullock won that race over Alan Tashner 56-44. In one other contested county council race, in Sussex, Republican Don Ayotte won the Republican nomination for the 3rd district seat over well-known Republican activist Brent Wangan 52-48.
That's primary night. The November ballot is now set. Republicans now believe they have their best chances in years at gaining some statewide offices. Sheriff Valenzuela is believed to have a solid shot at defeating Lieutenant Governor Matt Dehn, and Insurance Commissioner candidate Ben Mobley has gotten his wish to run against Karen Weldon Stewart. And a poll commissioned by Independent Party Senate candidate Alex Pyers shows that the U.S. Senate race is potentially competitive as well. Now, with less than 8 weeks to go, things are certainly starting to get interesting.
Thanks, Kristen. We'll have some thoughts on last night's tragic developments in Libya when the broadcast continues in a moment. Last night, Islamic thugs attacked an American consulate in Libya, then abducted and killed Ambassador Christopher Stevens. Horrific pictures of Stevens being dragged away to his death are already going viral on Facebook and other social media. The latest unrest is being blamed on a YouTube video that criticized Muhammad. What is most disturbing about the beginning of these events was that the Obama administration's initial response was to apologize for the video, a fundamental mistake. That was like throwing gasoline on the fire. The murder of Ambassador Stevens was a direct result of Obama's inflammatory response and yet another horrible foreign policy miscalculation. You can add that to the list of disasters on our Issues Tuesday special. Obama oddly has attacked Romney as not having the experience Obama has in foreign affairs. It seems to me that far from being a negative, not having Obama's experience is something we should be grateful for. You have been assimilated.